Yo, what's going on, guys? Gonna be showing you how to carry on the new Udyr jungle and trying to break it down as simple as I can for you. So first things first, he's best played as a bruiser AP tank, maxing his R first and building items such as the tank mythics alongside awesome items like demonic with deadmans and force of nature. For your runes, you're going to want to take phase rush with nimbus celerity, water walking, tenacity, triumph with attack speed 80 and armor. If you want to play him more turtle stance, you'd be better off taking the resolve tree secondary instead. That way you can help to buff up your heals and shields. But as Udyr jungle, you're not really going to need that. You're going to want to prep your Q towards the start of the game, get that ready. After you used every ability, you set up 2 empowered autos, which are going to have a faster attack speed and do a little bit of extra damage. You want to start Q. Your passive goes on a long cooldown and it lets you empower any of your abilities, giving them a special effect. Your Q, it basically just makes it do more damage. So we're going to auto, Q, auto, and then we're going to use our passive here. So we just had 6 empowered auto attacks for maximum clear efficiency. That's most important on your first camp though. On your other camps, you're going to be stacking your Q and R quite heavily on top of each other. Your Q gives you 4 seconds of bonus attack speed, and your R gives you 4 seconds of AoE magic damage and an AoE slow. For your camps, you're pretty much always going to be using your empowered Q against single target camps, and you're going to be using your empowered R against multi-target camps. So for example, your red buff, blue and Gromp, use your passive Q, which is your empowered Q, and against everything else, use your empowered R since it's more AoE damage. Q is more single target damage. You're going to want to get another point in your R before you get anything else. That way you can clear your camps more efficiently. We're going to go ahead and start popping our refills. Udyr's clear isn't quite as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty solid. We're going to Q, double tap R, and try to take this camp as fast as possible. Taking blue and Gromp at the same time is fairly efficient. Just kite the blue over to the Gromp, and then you can smite the Gromp to pull it in, if you will. And then you're going to empower R once you have both of them together, and then try to finish off the blue. That simple. You don't have to take them at the same time, but it certainly will speed up your clear and help you do 315s to 320s instead of ending around 325. At this point, you want to get your E so you can actually gank. Fiora's looking pretty gankable, so we'll skip Scuttle and go straight for that. Our passive is on cooldown, which is kind of annoying. We're going to go ahead and E Ghost and try and get ourselves parried. Get her with her stun, and we'll finish her off with our R. Very nice. That was a great parry on her part. Against enemy champions, 9 out of 10 times, you're going to do an empowered R because it increases the slow and it's also huge AoE damage. So if there is more than one champion, it's always the best bet. And even if there is only one champion, the increased slow is incredibly valuable from a ganking perspective. First item rush, get Lucids, and then you can start building into your mythic item. Use your E to get around the map for the extra movement speed. It's a fairly short cooldown. You do want to make sure you're not accidentally wasting your passive though. If you are, it's going to make it very hard to gank. Ganking without your passive sucks because you're missing out on your empowered R. So do keep that in mind. You do get your passive back faster if you use an ability and then auto attack something. You can even use that against turrets or inhibitors to help it come back. So here you can see it getting very low per auto attack. Bot lane doesn't really look gankable. Callista's low health, so she's not going to step up. We'll go ahead and let that be and move on to our next camp. And it's really the same thing. You use E to get around, then you press Q, and then you spam your R. It's that simple. The new Udyr is I'd say an overall upgrade from the old one as a whole, because he's a better team fighter since he has a massive AoE slow now. You can play him with turtle stance, but as a jungler it's not quite as efficient because ultimately as a jungler you want to have good damage and good CC. being tankier in a gank doesn't really help because people 9 times out of 10 are trying to get away from you. So it's better to have a damage and a slow. Much better to have a damage and a slow. We're going to use... Well, we'll go ahead and hold on to our passive here. I want to have it for a gank. Ooh, this is... that's kind of interesting. She must have path bot to top. Your best matchups on Udyr are against melee champions because you can kite them out super hard with your R. It's hard for them to stay on top of you in melee range since your R constantly slows them. Range champions like Kindred are very annoying for you to deal with. I'm not finding any ganks, man. These people are all hiding. Ganking a Akali is annoying. You do still lack general mobility. It's mainly once you're on them, it's hard for them to get away. But actually getting to them is the annoying part. Now, something I haven't mentioned is your empowered E. It's mainly useful if you're about to get hard CC'd, let's say by a hook, or if you're in a Veigar cage, or a Lux snare's coming, or a Morgana snare, you can use your empowered E and go straight through it. It's a little Olaf art, only lasts for a second and a half. So that's why I haven't really mentioned it yet. You're not going to be using it the majority of the time whenever you go to use an ability. You're going to be using it the minority of the time only when it situationally makes sense, which is very situational. It's never really bad to use your empowered R. It's just such a good ability. I kind of want to kill the Akali here. I think I can. Yeah, we get her with the stun. We barely live. I can't believe she had Ignite. We're pretty squishy because all we have is Ionian boots and we're also out of mana. That was a rocky fight. We don't actually have any items. Kind of funny. Even though you're going to be spamming your spells a lot, you'll never really run out of mana, so don't worry about buying mana items. Your jungle item gives you loads of mana back whenever you are in the jungle or river areas. It is a really interesting counterplay, though. When you get put in a vague cage, you just simply run through it with your empowered E. Obviously, you need your... What am I doing? Holy crap. Obviously, you need your passive up to empower any of your abilities, so that's why I said you always want to have it up when you go into a gank to give yourself the option to do an empowered E or an empowered R. Oh, I can't believe I just let that happen there. Ripperoni pepperoni. I've clearly stayed up past my bedtime here. We going in bot. That is one nice thing about having turtle stance is you'll never accidentally kill yourself, but then again, I shouldn't have done that anyways. It's usually better to just keep getting more points in bear stance so you can reapply it more frequently and to also get the higher movement speed. Getting to the enemies is one of the cruxes in Udyr's kit. And like I said, the changes to him, staying on top of them isn't challenging anymore. It's just getting to them can be challenging, which is why Blue Smite is also a necessity for slowing them down and speeding yourself up so you can close that distance. Let's get this Akali. It is time. Oh, yeah, she's going in. I've seen a lot of Akalis lately, and it seems extremely broken. The last couple of Akalis I've seen all popped off super hard. I think their jungler is over here. Yeah. I went straight through that with my empowered E. She tried to snare me. We baited out her parry, and then we pop our E into our Q. Down she goes. That's fantastic. Like I said, your E is useful. It's just situational. If you're dodging a hard CC with it, it's probably worth to use. With that being said, if it's in a big team fight, if you getting hit by that CC isn't going to get you killed, it's at that point it's better not to do it. That way you can use your empowered R to carry the team fight, because your empowered R does so much max health damage. It scales per level. It gets all the way up to 16% of their max health, even if you build 0 AP. Super freaking high. I don't know if I mentioned this, but if AD Udyr does become viable, If they buff his Q or nerf his R, lethal tempo and press the attack at that point will be viable. But for now, phase rush is the way to go for staying on top of your opponents and to be able to get away from sticky opponents as well. Pop our Q there to get some bonus attack speed, 20% for 4 seconds. Our mid laner really is struggling, but our top laner is doing decent. We should probably play for Drag Souls. Our bot lane is doing well. We should be playing around them. Even though Jhin has kill advantage, he's somehow down in CS. That's very abnormal. We're going to go ahead and ghost into her. Get her with the stun into double R. That's annoying. We did get her flash and her R at the low cost of our ghost. Ghost is lower cooldown. Still would have preferred to get a kill, as you can imagine. Looks like they took the scuttle. They're not on dragon, are they? Okay, good. I don't trust this Ahri. Now Calista just got a kill. That sucks. Oof, we just wasted our E. Or I should say we just wasted our passive. We shouldn't need it since we have blue smite. We can still probably make the gank work. I would like if his empowered E lasted longer. I feel like a 1.5 seconds isn't enough. It's an interesting hook. She parries it. It stuns me out of all people. We might actually die here. Got with our slow. We're gonna have to pull off. We ate the Fiora CC, and then we got Kiana Ard, so not the best fight for us. Looks like Fiora ended up dying. Herald's down. We can afford our Sunfire, so we'll go ahead and back. If they have big backline champions that you need to get to, like let's say they have a Senna Caitlyn, right? Some crazy big damage that is gonna be challenging to get on top of, then you have to go chem tank. They don't have that though. Calista short range, and then they have triple melee to where having Sunfire Aegis, it is the more premium item compared to the others. It gives you more armor and more magic resist, and it gives you more damage in sustained fights and drawn out fights, I should say. We'll E into her, blue smite, ER. I guess we'll double R because she's gonna dang near get away here. Because we're not as balanced. I'm not gonna chase. Renata can kind of kite me out. Fighting 1 versus 2 is never fun. But hey, if we can get our passive up, I'll boogie. If I had a chem tank there, it's hard to say though. Fighting 2 of them who are relatively high HP is kind of rough. Wow, it still got vision even though I killed it. That is a strange interaction. I was hitting it from behind too. Believe me. We're gonna Q into double R, take down this camp. And we're making sure to constantly use our E to get from camp to camp faster. If you forget to do that, you'll be clearing a lot slower, getting less pressure out on the map. I do want to take Dragon, but the mid differential is making it hard. We empowered Q against red buff, blue and Gromp, like you see there. I have to ghost for this like really early. Get our blue smite on her, into the R, flick on the Q. Stun her out, stay on top. Make sure you move in between your auto so they can't get away. That's what I'm saying though. Once you get on top of them with Udyr, it's so hard for them to get away. Neither one of them could really move there. That's why having Turtle Stance would have done nothing. It would have decreased our damage by us wasting time to cast the ability. We wouldn't be able to cast as many Tigers and Wingborn Storms. It's not Tigers, Wilding, Claw. I don't like the new names, but I'll get used to it eventually, I guess. Got her flash. We'll take it. Kali's pretty low. She's not a full item. I really want to take Dragon. We just don't have the prio to do it. And boy, is it frustrating. I'm assuming since Akali's low and Ahri's almost dead, that Akali Ahri is on a cooldown. Let's hope my assumption is right. That's annoying. Down she goes. It seems like she still had R. So my assumption was very much wrong. Thank goodness Senna was there. Otherwise, that might have actually turned out poorly. Hey, Renata, you want to fight? I'm sure she does. God, everyone's... They're too mobile, man. Champions who aren't supposed to be mobile are mobile from their mythics. What is League coming to? Go ahead and use our empowered Q, swap back into R. I wouldn't recommend taking a dragons when you're kind of low health and don't know where all the enemies are, especially if it's an ocean dragon. Since it's an earth drag, it's kind of easy. Earth and flame are two of the easiest ones to take. Ocean slows you, and Hextech, that's the right word. Hextech slows you as well on the third auto. Ocean dragon slows you every auto. It makes it really hard to escape when people show up and tickle your pickle. At this point in the game, you want to just keep playing for dragons. Drag Soul easy win con. I don't want to play for heralds. Fjord's been dominating lane constantly, has CS advantage. Even though our bot lane's doing solid, Kalista's kind of just winning. And that's why she has CS advantage. Give me that stun, baby! She's so scared. She knows what's coming to her. It's a big old handsome man. I don't like the way Udyr walks, though. His just like walking around animation's really weird. Very strange. He looks like that one Lee Sin skin almost. I don't know. Weird stuff. Usually second item you're going to go for Demonic or Dead Man. It depends on if you need more mobility. The Demonic is a greedier purchase since overall you will be less tanky. Fun fact, it gives more HP. Ha ha ha. So even though you'll be less tanky mainly because of the mobility difference, the faster you are, the harder it is for them to stay on top of you. They'll end up canceling more auto attacks and they'll end up missing more skill shots and whatnot. So yeah, that's why even with Dead Man's you're tankier. Even though it gives less HP, because tank items don't give HP in League Season 12. Even still. In reference to them giving less HP than many other like, non-specified tank items. We're going to go ahead and Ghost, Ian, hit him with the double R. We get the resets there for our Ghost, or the extensions I should say to be more accurate. I'm missing too much HP. It's in situations like these where having Turtle would be awesome. Yes, having Turtle max second would be so cool there. But how much should you sacrifice for that situation when you can still do stuff like we just did? Your ganks will hurt if you're maxing Turtle second. And on top of that, you kind of want people to focus you because they get baited by your slow and they can't quite kill you. To where, in my opinion, Turtle on Udyr jungle is just kind of poop. It definitely has its spot, but it's just overly situational to where even if you never get Turtle, you can still do all the things you really need to do on Udyr. They're shoving down mid. My R is up, so is my blue smite. I could tear these kids up. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna double R her, get her with the Q. That was not really worth for them. I really need a Dead Man's or some kind of... Actually, I'm gonna go Force of Nature, screw it. Akali's really fed, and Kalista's not gonna focus me. Plus, I'm gonna slow the Kalista. I'll go Force. I don't even care. Akali's way too strong. With her low CS score, Champion's just overtuned early mid game. Only thing that keeps her balanced is Akali's late game is legitimately terrible. Her base stats are way overtuned early though, to where it's like no matter how poorly she's doing, she can get good value up until everyone has 5 to 6 items. Fiora, tier 2 boots, no other movement speed items. We'll go ahead and power E into her to close that distance. Down she goes. If there was multiple enemy champions there, we would have obviously used our empowered R. But since it was only her, might as well just get there a little bit quicker. She had no escape too. She had nowhere to run to, no turret. Now we run away. I need to reset. We're also sitting on a lot of gold. I guess I should grab a camp real quick so I can buy what I'm trying to buy without having to sell refill. I like to keep refills as long as possible. They're incredibly helpful. In long drawn out fights, having an extra 100 to 200 health if you have enough time to use both charges is kind of insane off of a 150 gold item. It can ultimately give more value than a ruby crystal if the fight is long enough, and it's less than half the price. So if possible, I hold on to it, but ultimately if it's going to keep me from a full item purchase, I will sell it to leave base sooner. It's cool to hold on to though. I like it. I do miss the days of being able to start 9 health potions though. That's pretty rad. That is one thing about League's progression that has made me a little bit sad, is the overall locking down of what items you can and can't purchase and the quantity of how many you can and can't. It's a bit of a bummer the more locked down it gets. Stun into R, into Q. Run her down again. I used the empowered E to run that one down. We get the ghost extensions. We're gonna pop the refills. And we get Dragonfly. Whoa! Whoa! Ooh, alright, Renata looking like a double wide surprise over here. Immediately runs away. That was either warded or she has decent reaction time. Moved away perfectly. Yep, nice try. She tried to steal it. Not even close, baby. With Deadman's, we're moving around 481. On E, we're moving around 590, decaying down to 517. It's pretty freaking quick. Yeah, she had to use her Yomus. Oh, I just wasted my passive. Rip. She flashes away. Maybe I should have just stayed on top. She's actually really slow. Get the stun into R. I'll take the back path. They probably realize I don't have turtle stance, so they're more willing to focus me. That is something you should look for if you're playing against Udyr. Try to pay attention to what abilities he is and isn't using, because there's a good chance he might not even level up his turtle. I'm not a huge fan of it for the reasons I already expressed. From the jungle position, it's not very good, because it'll pretty much always be full health as a jungler anyways. Now as a laner, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but as a laner, it makes sense. You can sustain yourself, you can bait people into diving you. 2 huge reasons to take it. And I do plan on doing a Udyr top video coming soon. Not only is it viable, I think it definitely has its place. I have a feeling they're going to nerf Udyr, to be honest. His R being a huge AoE slow, even without being empowered, is just so freaking good. 30% slow right now? AoE? 4 seconds? That's a long time. Really long time. Like, if that was a single target slow, it'd be like, okay, that's okay. But the fact that you can 5-man, that's impressive. Got it. I don't know why Ari was trying to outsmite me. That's bizarre. That's one thing as a jungler that's kind of annoying, is when you're trying to smite the objective, sometimes you'll have one or more teammates trying to outsmite you for it, and then it just makes it easier for the enemy jungler to outsmite you. Because if everyone's throwing everything they have at it at the same second, it turns everything into a smite. There's just too much happening at once, basically. Well, why keep maxing Q over W at this point? Because you get 10% attack speed per level. It's kind of cool to have, especially with Sunfire Aegis being on hit. Now, if you're Chem Tank, then you wouldn't really need to. But since we have some on hit damage, having Q max, I guess third, I should say, is pretty nice. We get the stun. Oh, yuck. That's disgusting. Stand still. Goodbye, Callista. What a fun game, man. What a fun champion. Udyr feels a lot like, if you guys remember Warwick before his rework, he feels like the reworked Warwick, where he feels very simple but still dynamic. Overall, I'd give this rework a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 beanbags. Very cool. Let's take a look at the graphs. Looking at damage all 10 enemy champions playing a tanky Udyr, we still had the most damage on our team because his R's base damage is simply that high. That is all the source of his damage, and that's why you really shouldn't max Q first or second, and you really shouldn't be playing Udyr AD with lethal tempo. It doesn't make a lot of sense to play him that way right now. Damage taken, we also took the most damage on our team. Self-mitigated, the most on our team. And keep in mind, we died in our own jungle. We didn't play a perfect game. Alright, so looking at runes, great value. If you guys enjoyed this Udyr beginner's guide, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to hack the algorithm. My name is King Sticks. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.